They built in a lot of
wasn't
stuff. Back then,
as we'll see soon here,
That's
as you see if you're watching the movie or have seen it. There's not much left of the car.
Yeah.
When
They
they're done.
get back to the whole radio station deal, and this is when she's playing the Cramps, isn't it?
Well, when it cuts to night and it cuts back, and then they're playing Goo Goo Mode. When the sun goes down and the moon comes up, boom, boom, boom. It's awesome, dude. And I remember hearing that. Well, I have an interesting story just with this movie I can talk about too. But yeah, when I was watching this recently, I was like, man, the Cramps. It's awesome that they put it on there. I think she even puts on another Cramps song after that, while the dialogue goes back between LG and her.
Tobe Hooper had a really good choice of the music at that part of it. You know, he had a lot of influence in that. But then, I mean, he seems like a pretty cool dude because, like a John Carpenter, he played his own music in his movies.
Well, the psychobilly style of the Cramps just really fits the movie,
Yeah,
so it's just really unique.
Yep.
Yeah. It just really fits.
Well, you get a little bit more taste of LG and Stretch, sitting in the studio, just like jamming, having a good time. It's like an independent radio station, but it's like they're broadcasting.
I'm not really sure what LG does.
He's the engineer.
He's the manager.
Yeah, but
you got to have someone on the other side. Like
I don't feel like he was the manager though.
Well, not really. Yeah, I don't think he owned it.
No.
Somebody else owned it.
Yeah, I think
must have been
like
the
maybe
weekend.
he said producer,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I'm
on
not
the other
entirely.
end.
So it's probably
what his job was either.
Well, she did say something about hitting a button, and he said I did at
Yeah.
one point. So maybe that's what he was
cut off
Yeah, he must have been the backside engineer. But then also this must have been a Friday night too,
right.
because the games are always on Saturday.
True.
So college games, of course.
Yep.
So this was Saturday. Then we get the other call in, and like, just hang up. Good Lord, because they're doing it again.
Right.
Like, hey, it's us, and like, oh my God, LG. And he has to come back in there.
You're on the road to nowhere.
yeah.
And they run into
mention the talking heads.
They get
in the middle of it.
Yeah.
They get to the longest aluminum bridge or whatever ever, and they
In
see
the
the
history.
truck on it. Yeah,
Are they crossing the Red River at that point? I don't know.
They get cut off by the truck.
right. They're on their
the
way a little
bridge.
bit. Mm-hmm.
And they stop right in the middle of it. They're like, "Hurt."
And this is a great sequence, by the way. I'm not knocking it in any means.
No.
When it does pull back, you do see the bridge is actually quite long. But as you're watching
it's
the
not
back,
4 miles long.
as you're watching the back and forth between, so the truck starts to
The truck actually gives them a berth for them to go forward.
right.
And as they're going forward, they're keeping up in reverse.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that. And you're right, on the longest bridge in history of all movies.
Imagine if that was at night and you were really filming it, you would want to have a cool backdrop to show.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
that
it's
really
cool.
does make it really cool.
Oh,
on that
100%.
scene. Yeah.
100%. But this douchebag deserved to die because had it been 5 years forward, perhaps he would have learned from, like Days of Thunder. Hit the brakes and let them fly right by. Jesus Christ, dude. What are you doing?
I know, right? Why are you keeping up with them? He's like, oh, hold on. I need to back off.
And they even made this.
Shit!
Yeah, and at one point he's like climbed over with Rick the Prick, He's like all the way over there.
Yeah, because that fucking chainsaw is like 4 foot long.
When we'll get to, I guess we haven't got to that part where he pops out yet, but the whole time I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Run them off the road. Try to do something. Get away from them. You got a fucking gun, for Christ's sake,
That's
right?
That's right.
Well,
It's a truck reversing. And,
yeah.
So the truck.
And they
is
said they were
reversing
going
into-
90 miles an hour later in the.
Well,
Yeah,
when they
yeah.
crash, that's what they assume.
And I'm thinking, a
They definitely
Mercedes
are.
from the 80s could go faster than 90 miles an hour.
Probably.
The truck probably can't do 90 miles an hour in reverse.
Backwards. I thought the
Yeah.
same thing. I was thinking, how is that going so fast in
But,
reverse? They must have
maybe
been doing 30.
Chop Top probably,
Yeah.
he muscled it up a little
Yeah,
bit. or
yeah,
something.
they
Yeah,
revved
yeah.
it up
Yeah.
over the
It
years.
is a muscle
but no, I mean obviously you have to have a little bit of suspension.
Oh,
Yeah,
ability
yeah.
there.
absolutely.
And
Well,
they're backing up, and like it keeps going by. The cuts back and forth are really start to give it the dark humor to me because it's
Absolutely.
like, oh, okay, this is taking forever.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's part of again, I think a lot of this movie is like Tobe Hooper's take on like that schlock
Sure.
horror that was out at the time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I find, again, this is one of my favorite horror comedy movies of all time.
It is, yeah. It's
Um,
really good, dude. It's one of the best.
But
out there.
that's just funny. I found that humor as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got to get to Leatherface popping up.
Yeah.
We don't know it's Leatherface yet.
No.
Well, yeah. So
because-
on the back of the truck, he's holding a body dancing with it, which is also kind of
He fucked up.
fucked up.
But you
Yeah.
can't see that it's Leatherface.
No, you
yeah,
can't see
he's
who it
got the
is.
sheet.
Over it,
Yeah,
yeah.
the sheet over the back of him, but he's
Yeah.
messing with a dead body.
Yeah.
And holding
Which-
the chainsaw still.
Yeah, which is actually the hitchhiker's body. body, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Nubbins
so
is,
yeah,
right? Is that what you
yeah,
said?
it's Nubbins' body.
Nubbins.
Yeah, so and then he even starts a fucking chainsaw with him attached to it.
That's
which
what I was impressed.
fucking cool,
yeah,
man.
absolutely.
It's like a 4-foot long chainsaw, and he starts going after the kid, and is screaming, sparks, and all that shit. The best part comes though when he nicks the head.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, when he goes through the door, like you were talking, they were on top of each other.
Yeah.
At that point, you would have slammed on the fucking brakes or
Something.
something. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
ran that truck into the side to knock that dude off.
Yeah.
Something to get rid
He
of
could
him.
have fallen off the bridge because it's like the cross beam.
Right.
Or he
right,
could have
yeah.
fallen on to the car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think I would have just got away.
Yeah, it just floored it, maybe. Yeah, but he actually shoves that goddamn chainsaw through the door.
Through the door.
Yeah.
I mean, that chainsaw is a badass chainsaw. It cuts through the door of a car, and then it doesn't cut through something else a little bit later, which is kind of crazy.
Right.
But that's whenever he's like, shoot him. And he actually does shoot. He's a fucking good shot.
A pretty good shot.
He shoots Nubbins in the head.
Well, he's
And-
been shooting signs and mailboxes at
Sure.
90 miles an
Yeah,
hour all
yeah,
day
yeah.
and all night. So
Obviously,
he better
he's
be a
freaked
good
out,
shot.
And
yeah.
now the adrenaline's kicked in. So.
Yeah, obviously he's freaked out, but yet he
Right.
still nails the head, and that's when you see Leatherface, and they're just like, "What the fuck is this?" I mean, Leatherface's mask in this one was fucking awesome
Yeah.
too.
I did
Had
like
the ear
it, yeah.
on it and everything. Yeah,
And his
Yeah.
tongue is out of it a lot.
But if you listen to it with headphones, you can hear the.
Oh.
You can hear
Over
that
the
the whole
teeth
time.
and
Yeah,
stuff?
you can just hear him like, "That's sick. That is gross. That is disgusting." But it was very good
Makeup-
sound work.
Yeah, makeup's good too.
Makes
Yeah,
it
amazing.
visceral.
Yeah, but then, yeah, like you said, like right soon after that, he starts screaming, and the other dude's got his hands out, like, "Oh!" and his fucking head is sawed in half.
Well, it's
that
like the
blood,
chunks cut
that,
out.
that back,
It
when it
just-
cuts
yeah.
to that back scene, I was like, oh, I forgot about
I
that.
forgot about that,
It
too.
just kind of slides down, and
That
it
blood's
just
spurting
oh.
out the top.
Half,
it-
yeah, the top like corner of his head comes off, and then blood goes everywhere, and you can see the brains in the inside.
Yeah.
I forgot we should have mentioned this movie's unrated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
It
released
is not-
unrated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not. It was not. He was given an X rating, and then they just released it unrated.
yeah, they were gonna do whatever they wanted to at that point. They're like, "Fuck it."
So it's gory.
Yeah, yeah.
It's gore.
This is the
Absolutely.
first picture of the gore that you get to
Yeah.
see, which is fucking graphic.
But this is also the part where you get a great line from LG because then they can't hear anything in the studio.
Yeah,
Dead air.
yeah, dead air, honey. Yeah.
And then cut
Very-
away.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
cut away.
Yeah,
There's,
very-
and the whole time she's like, hang up, 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 hang up.
And I feel like that is kind of a foreshadowing as well. As we find like later on, she does that a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you think everything's cool after that, but then they cut to the scene on the bridge,
Right.
on the concrete embankment.
It's daytime now.
It's daytime, and then you see that's the first time you see actually Lefty,
Dennis Hopper's character.
Dennis Hopper,
Hopper, Texas
Yeah.
Ranger.
yeah, Lieutenant
Lefty.
Lefty Enright.
He is.
You get to see him, but he looks so short.
He is
You know,
short.
but he looks straight up Texan with
Yeah.
that big ass hat, and he's got the
His
cool suit,
Yeah, with the
everything.
what's that called? The certain tie, the
the bolo tie. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's almost like, I mean, you think he's still in the... Because he's not a ranger anymore. They said he was an ex-ranger.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. When you see him, though, you kind of think, oh, he's
He's part of
he's
it.
part of it.
But that's when the sheriffs show up, and they're
Right.
like, "Hey, get off the crime scene!"
Yeah,
Like,
get out of this
whoa,
place.
whoa, wait. And they
Well, he
gotta
doesn't. I
stop
mean,
him.
he just straight up
Yeah.
punks that one dude.
yeah.
Oh.
Well, this is where you also get the exposition that maybe he's not a ranger anymore because after his niece and nephew were killed, his brother's kids,
Yeah.
the detective working on the scene says something like, "Oh, but it's also implied that that's maybe a rumor."
Right. Well, it seems like that's the reason why he's not, like you said, he's not in law enforcement anymore. Is
Right.
because he was chasing this ghost.
But he's been
you know,
chasing it this whole 13 years. too.
years.
Yeah.
Are we gonna talk about the deleted scenes at all or no?
We can absolutely.
Because that was part of maybe one of the deleted scenes I've seen. Now I don't have this cut. I've been looking for this DVD for a while. I just never got around to getting it. But there is supposed to be a deleted scene subplot that made it more clear that it was his. I guess it is pretty clear.
It's pretty clear.
It's
I
pretty
thought.
clear that. Yeah, never mind. I don't know. Maybe I misread that, but
Well, back to the story.
Okay.
For it, I mean, they literally. That car is mangled, and they do mention that they were doing like 90 whenever it went over.
90.
Yeah.
So where's the
that's
bridge?
how fast you go when you get away from it.
They came. No, the bridge is right here. They came off it. Like
yeah,
that
but they
way.
don't show the steel bridge. They don't show the.
They don't.
Yeah, they don't show that. They just show a regular Texas bridge.
And they get the
You know?
you get to see why he's not a ranger, and you get a little bit of know
Right.
about his
And
character.
I will tell you, and being from Texas, I mean, it all looks just like that too. It really does. It is. So boring. And I mean, I bet you it looks that way all over the country anyway. But that
Yeah.
it just,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
feel
Highways,
that
though,
because
yeah.
I've seen that shit so many times. Yeah, that's when you kind of. He says, "Put it in the papers." He's all get some
Well,
words.
she tries to come to him first.
Yeah, because he has that line. I'm gonna. I have.
Oh no,
it in
you're
my
right.
mind.
No, you're right. You're right.
He's like,
This
I
is
have it
another
in my
force,
right
yeah.
mind to send you back to Amarillo.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, just how do you want me to handle this? Put it in the papers. Let's get some bites on this.
And that's foreshadowing to what he does later as a kind of a bait thing. Right?
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
He kind of
So-
uses a lot of people in that way, and then that's when we get to them being at the hotel,
Right, and Stretch bringing
And
the
that's
tape.
and that's where Toby Hooper's in it too.
Okay.
Toby
He's one of the
Hooper-
crazy
Is
people
he-
in the
Yeah.
background?
Yeah.
Well, no, he's the guy that walks past the door whenever she's knocking on the door,
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
and that's Toby Hooper with the hat on, and he throws something. He's like
Oh,
smoking
yeah,
a cigar, and he
yeah.
throws some shit. Like for some reason, he was very.
What's going on there?
That's
That's
like a
that's the Red
convention of some
River.
sort.
That's the Red River.
Oh no, it's
rivalry.
The rivalry.
Oh,
yeah.
it's not the chili cook-off?
No, no.
Okay.
Well, it is.
Well, the
It is
chili
at the same
cook-off
time.
is
Part of it.
Part of
Yeah.
it, I think. You
But
know,
it's
like,
not the only thing. There's
No,
a football
no,
game going
yeah,
on.
When-
Okay.
the biggest football game for Texas
Yeah.
ever.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Whenever I
Every
was
year.
at my training 10 years ago for my current job, that game was going on, and I was at a hotel, and it was
Oh.
almost like that.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was crazy,
Cool.
and it was just a weird deal. Like I remember all these people were there for it, so it was kind of like that. It wasn't as rowdy.
Right.
They made it a little bit bigger, but it was big.
Well,
Might
yeah,
have been
that's
more
the
rowdy
80s.
back in the day.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, this was
When you could
2008,
smoke in the hallways
2009, yeah.
everywhere, and there's ashtrays in the
Yeah.
hallways.
Well, she has the paper because it's like local cowboy, seeking justice or something like that.
Well,
was
and
a headline.
obviously the head what they wrote wasn't real great about him.
No.
No, right.
They kind of made him out to be kind of crazy, and that's why he looks so messed up. And I did notice that last time.
Oh,
He looked
yeah.
very
looks-
gaunt.
yeah,
It's like they
absolutely.
painted him to make him look
Circles under his
like
eyes.
he's been up all night.
drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
because
probably hasn't eaten.
and that's the first thing he does is he grabs a drink of wild turkey or something like that. So he's been drinking.
But it worked. He
Yeah.
he baited her in a way, and
Yeah.
now she's got the evidence, which is the recording.
Which he won't take from her.
yeah,
Nope,
he won't listen
because he's
to it.
smart.
Yeah.
He wants to get to where he's going.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to. What's he going to do with it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
His character is very good and very thought out.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, he's very one-minded, and he knows what he's doing.
yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's when
He's
that's
on a
when,
mission from God.
yeah.
Obviously.
Well, that's
Obviously.
what that's when LG's there making the fry house. He's all, I made you a fry house.
no,
Oh yeah,
dude.
that looked really good.
I didn't remember that line, but I remember I was taking my notes and I wrote LG's Fry House, and then he said it, and I was like, yes!
Yes.
I do remember that. So somewhere in the remnants of my brain, I
He even
remember
put
it.
a little bit of ketchup on the chimney
Yeah.
and everything. That was a shitload of fries. That's like the meal that I want is a fucking badass deal of steak fries like that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
dude.
Like, where did he get them
I
from?
just thought of a new restaurant. We're going to have a fry house when under the fry house is like a steak
In your burger.
or a burger. Done.
That would be
Yeah,
really good.
done.
you just
Welcome to
gotta
Fry
eat,
House.
you just gotta open it up and eat around it.
Welcome to LG's Fry House.
Oh, that could be a chain of restaurants, dude.
LG's Fry
Absolutely.
House.
Oh
LG's
my
Fry House.
goodness! You might want to get up to put that.
We already trademarked it right now.
Trademarked right
Trademark.
now.
Might want to get
Circa 2019.
get the bank on the phone.
But that's when you know that they're doing the Red River rivalry chili
wait.
cook-off.
So wait
Well-
a minute, are they at the same hotel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
just,
weird.
It just
Yeah.
happens to work out that way. But I do like one of
Maybe
Hopper's
Hopper
lines.
knows.
he's like, I have a perfect willingness to die.
Yeah.
So he's like, that's what his one up on these people
There
are.
you
Yeah,
go.
he doesn't care
No,
at that point.
he
He's
doesn't
going
He
to
must
get
have
them
been
no matter
close
what.
with his brother's family, you know.
They were his niece and
Yeah.
nephew.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they're obviously reporters are reporting on the chili cook-off at the hotel
Yes.
that Hopper's also staying at,
Convenient.
where LG made the Fry House, and
their little backup unit or their little portable unit looks awesome,
yeah,
dude.
it
it does, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
so they get, they
Yeah.
could go around and record all sorts of cool
yeah,
shit with
and
that.
she's even got one of those old Shure microphones too, one of the old school
Yeah.
ones,
Yeah.
and like she's trying to be a real reporter almost, you know, she's fucking Lois Lane.